back to Lloyd and JD, the best podcast in the world. I'm Lloyd.
I'm JD.
I was just thinking about how hungry I was halfway through the intro.
Hence the deep sigh.
Yeah. That's how it affects me.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't seen you in a little bit.
Yeah.
For the people at home, they think we were filming during Christmas, but we
we pre-tape, and any time that we've had kind of time where somebody's been gone, whether you've been to Spain or I've been to Japan,
we just tape a bunch.
Christmas, we just tape a bunch, and then we pretend that.
So I actually haven't seen you in forever.
Yeah, it's been about three weeks, almost 4 weeks.
Not long enough though.
Yeah.
I didn't have a long enough holiday.
No, you found it wasn't.
I find days when you're at home and like you're enjoying your time, it goes like you look at the clock and it's like 5 p.m.
Right.
And you're like, where did the day go? At work, I look at the clock and it's like 10 a.m. I'm like, why won't the day go?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand it. Like, my days at work feel like a week crammed into a day.
Yeah.
Just constant hard work.
Yeah.
Going at it all day long. Looking at the clock, 2 minutes has gone by, you know?
Right.
You look at the clock at home, fuck hours have gone by. And you don't even, like, do I get abducted by fucking aliens at home or some shit? Like, I wake up, I look at the clock, it's fucking 4 o'clock. I'm like, what happened?
Yeah.
I had lunch.
Yeah. I think that's, a lot of times I find with things at home, like things pile up. Like there's things that you need to do and they pile up. And then by the time you get to them, it's not even
the time goes so fast. I have so much I want to do.
Right.
And then I start doing it and I get into one thing and then I do that for a week because I want to do that. And then if I could just be a stay-at-home person, like I didn't have to have a job, there would, like, when you talk to people and they're like, oh, I'd be bored if I didn't have a job. Or like if I didn't come to, like I talk to some people at work, like if I'm off too long, I get bored. Like that's not me.
No, that's not me either.
I have a million and one things that I'll do, and then there's a million and one hobbies that I haven't even entered into yet. You know what I mean? Like I could never get bored.
Yeah. My day is filled to the point that I never get to what I need to anyways. I mean, I have, like I said, before Christmas, I said there is a ton of models that I have to build that are just sitting there that I just never seem to get around to doing and sitting down and doing it. I actually meant to do that over the Christmas holidays, and I didn't even do that.
I gamed hard, which is what I plan to do.
Yeah.
I played Call of Duty.
Yeah. So, I mean, at least you accomplished what you set out to do, right? So...
And hang out with the family, which I also did.
Yeah.
Went a little stir crazy because it was so cold.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
you can't even take the baby out in that. There's not enough clothes to stop your baby from crying in -30. You can't.
Yeah. And that was the thing. Like the weather was so bad during that week. Like, I mean, everybody I was talking to were pretty much a shut in. I went out for my birthday. I think was the only day that I kind of.
We had enough food to live for like a month.
Yeah.
So. There was no need to leave the house.
Yeah, I left the one day, and it's just because I felt like I hadn't left the house in long enough. And
you go outside, and you're like, oh, that's why.
Yeah. I mean, it was just a quick, drive, eat, drive back, but it was enough to be a big enough change in setting that, it was good enough. But when it's that cold, it's just everything kind of shuts down. I mean, it's so gray outside. The clouds just kind of hang there. You can't go do outside things because you just basically freeze to death.
You can feel your breath freezing. You can hear it.
Yeah. And things break. Like your vehicle breaks and...
Your nose all freezes.
Yeah.
Or your beard and moustache, you just feel it like stiffen up.
Right. Well, I did that.
That's how I know it's like my whiskers. That's how I know how cold it is outside.
Yeah, because it snowed so much the one time I had to move a bunch of snow and all that kind of stuff. By the time I came back in, there was icicles hanging off.
It snowed every day from Christmas Eve. It wasn't a lot, but it snowed a thin layer every day. Yeah. If I was still doing snow removal, I would have worked.
I was thinking about you during Christmas and that big dump of snow that we had, and I was thinking, I bet you are so happy at this juncture that you don't do snow removal.
Yeah, I enjoyed it because just like usual, it doesn't snow up to Christmas. We think we're not going to have a white Christmas, and then Christmas Eve, it's like, fuck you, world. And every year it happens, and I'm working Christmas Eve, Boxing Day, every day after Boxing Day, and it would have been exact same this year. Every morning I had snow on my car, and every morning I was like...
Actually, I saw some stats where it's kind of a 50-50 whether or not it's going to be a white Christmas or a brown Christmas in Calgary or not.
But every year, I've done snow removal for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
And every year I
work
Christmas Eve, Boxing Day.
Yeah.
It looks like it's not going to... We get warm weather for like 2 weeks before.
And then it just
unleashes
and...
nose bombs and...
Yeah.
Yay.
Oh, we're going to get interrupted?
No.
partially.
Okay. It's just the Wolverine of the set.
Yeah.
We should have surround cameras that get the dogs on. You can see how annoying it is in person. So how was your holiday other than the fact that you didn't make your models? Do you have any New Year's resolutions finally? I told you to think about it.
Me? No, it's not my thing. I just make goals. And
are you worried about 2018?
Am I worried
that we're
about
gonna get blown off the face of the earth because shit is getting shady as fuck up in this shit?
Because Donald Trump and
North Korea blew up their own town.
Oh, they blew up their own town. I didn't see that.
Yeah, missile went all haywire. And
see, and it's funny. Like when they were shooting those missiles into the ocean, they were shooting them over Japan to kind of test them and stuff like that. It's like kind of like, you guys are taking a big risk because we're not even sure that it's gonna make. I'm not even sure they know it's gonna make it that far.
No man, what a crackpot science team they got working on.
Yeah,
over there.
I mean, the fact that they might plow a missile into Japan is not a good thing, test or not, right?
But I don't know. 2018 could even be very, very bad or very, very good.
Yeah,
but. Once again, all those sites are doing the whole those bad predictions for 2018. I fucking hate that shit on Facebook.
Right.
It's depressing. Why do they do that? Like every time I go through Facebook, there's one of those fucking things that you have on Facebook that people subscribe to or whatever. You get news and shit.
Right.
They always have those things about there's psychic predictions about fuck off with your psychic predictions of 2018.
Yeah. Most of the time they're dead wrong.
Yeah, but it's a bum out.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear that fucking North Korea is playing around with anthrax. That doesn't make me fucking feel good today.
Right.
And what can I do about it? It's not like I can fucking stand up and stop fucking North Korea from fucking around with anthrax. I'd rather you fuck off.
Yeah, but chances are North Korea is not going to mail you any anthrax.
No, it's not that, but
you're probably not on their mailing list.
Doing it. It's just a bum. It's a bummer.
Yeah.
I don't need that shit in my day.
Yeah.
What's the point in posting that even?
Yeah. Yeah, because they want. I mean, it's politics and the way the world works. They just want to scare people. So when they do things
it's annoying.
It's like when Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. So they went and they invaded Iraq and blew a bunch of stuff up. And then it's like, you know what? They really didn't have weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah, but that's all a front for their fucking
But that's
bullshit.
Exactly what I'm saying. It's a distraction tactic. They'll sort of pump things up and they'll say things that are not necessarily true.
But
so
I did want to talk to you. Sorry, now we're on the subject, and I didn't want to cut you off there, but I will forget.
Yeah.
How do you feel about all the stuff that's been happening? NASA releasing that footage, not just NASA, but the American government releasing that footage of the pilot that saw the few fighter pilots footage where they were chasing the unknown object. And
so you're talking about the Tic Tac footage, and you're talking about there's some more footage. It's interesting. I did a ton of reading on it. A lot of it, it depends on which footage you're talking about. And the problem is the media is getting the footage confused because they are two separate incidents.
I'm talking about the one that was of the fighter pilots.
Right. What I'm saying is they're both fighter pilots. They're both watching on
either way,
they
were both released by.
Yeah. So, I mean, there is basically... There are some people that are way, way smarter than I ever am going into how that basically is probably a smaller object and how the infrared cameras actually work.
Yeah, but I read all that stuff and a lot of that was baloney. I did read some of that stuff and this source, there's always going to be these guys that think they're super smart, that they're figuring it out. But these sources were just released by they were untouched sources. This is what their videos, and these pilots are trained and been flying for these pilots aren't newbie flyers. The guys, you can even look up who the guy is in the pilot thing and who he's talking to, and they're both veteran. These guys have been through a lot of shit.
Yeah.
And they're telling you that this is what it is. This is you think these guys have flown long enough that some arsehole with a computer telling you it's smaller than it really is. He would know what he's looking at.
Right.
He's been flying for a long time. It's his fucking job to shoot stuff in the sky. So I'm sure he knows distances, and I'm sure he's spent his fucking life knowing distances and sizes at distances and how fast something's traveling and how fast that thing ended up traveling to was fucking insane. How it stood still, just remotely. Even the fact that these guys are going after the size of it was okay. You guys, they'll hang on anything that they can to disprove something. But
a lot of it was the maneuver as well because it was dead center. It was mirroring the movement of the aircraft, all that kind of stuff,
crazy.
which leads it to basically that it's a reflection within
but
the
you've
IR
got these
camera.
guys talking about this thing. So is it that hard to believe that this thing was mirroring their images? They're saying that I'm seeing a UFO.
Yeah.
This is where it gets annoying for me because these guys all hang on to anything they possibly can. So now they're saying that this veteran flyer is talking to another guy who's seeing the exact same thing about a fucking reflection.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
Right.
That's where you're pushing. For me, that's where you're such a non-believer. Not you, the person even doing this. You're such a non-believer that you are trying to find, and you can do that with anything. You could see a ghost and be like, no, it was my reflection. No, it was my shadow. And you can go as scientific as you want. But if you're seeing something, you're fucking seeing something.
Right.
This is a veteran pilot. I'm sure they both weren't seeing the same fucking reflection. I'm sure that they weren't chasing a reflection in the sky. If that was true, it'd be very sad for our air fucking force that there was two of them as veteran pilots chasing a reflection. And I'm sure it would happen more than once. And this was a video that was kept secret and then released due to a certain thing that's happening right now with the laws on releasing footage, and which is brilliant because we're starting to see all this stuff flood out, and there's tons of it. There's files, there's all stuff that you can go through and read.
Yeah.
How much evidence do we need at this point? Is how I'm feeling. It's like, it's funny. It's been funny because they're talking about it a lot, even in social media, that if this stuff was happening 20 years ago, there would be outrage going, like, people would be like, what is going on? It's crazy stuff. It's even with like all the crisis with the pedophilia going on in Hollywood, and then you've got what's going on with the emails that they've been throwing out, and like you've got Anonymous that have done over 30,000 pedophiles that they've released that working within the government, and no one said a fucking thing. No one even, it's like that deficit too in the Pentagon where like, was it $6.3 trillion of taxpayers' money and they don't have any paperwork for it now because they're releasing all the thing. And that's just gone unnoticed. It's like no one even gives a shit.
Yeah.
That $6.3 trillion, I don't think even people are realizing $1 trillion is a huge, humongous amount of money. And now you're saying that $6.3 trillion of taxpayers' money in the Pentagon has no paperwork. Just nothing. And this is, you can look this up. This is real news.
Yeah.
And what did people do? Fuck all. They just look at it on their fucking Facebook and they're like, fake news. But
and
I feel like people are getting confused.
There's a problem with that. And that's always been my point. There is a problem with all this kind of stuff because on your Facebook feed this week, you posted an article about a Navy pilot that claims...
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, but I don't post, like, that annoys me that you even commented on that. That's why I don't comment back. Because it's like, I post those because I find a lot of them funny. I post them because, read it. Like, it's funny. There's a US pilot that's either ruining his fucking name...
Yeah.
Or he's onto something. It does. I don't fucking know the truth, but it's just fun to read. I don't post that shit because I'm like...
But what I'm saying is essentially you have these spectrums of things. You have a guy that says there's, what was it, 25 million people living on the moon.
But then let's talk about that for a second.
As
stupid as you think this is, let's talk about this for a real second. I posted another video on my Facebook of a guy that looked up the facts realistically. He doesn't post this as a fucking joke like that kind of is posted. This guy's just a normal dude that investigates, even says, if you're a bigger nerd like me and have no time, you'll find this stuff too. Like, I just do a little digging. I look around at all my sources, and he found real statistics and real mathematical equations about the moon. Now, the moon and how it's placed on the universe, the moon, as far as the galaxy as we can see, as far as we can see with all the tools that we have today, the moon that we have is the only one like it. And all the planets that we can observe, these are real facts. The only moon, and it's the most spheric moon that we've ever found. And not only this, the titanium level on the moon is 3 times that on Earth within the rocks. Not only this, there's 2 other things that they found on the moon when they found... These are real, like, you can go to the sites. These are real facts. I'm not like... This, and this guy did his research. Like, your smirk's annoying. They found, when they sent test samples back, they've had multiple fucking machines hit the moon. We've had multiple tests of the moon. They found titanium and they found 2 other minerals, but these minerals are man-made minerals. The only way that we know to make them is by nuclear. When we do our nuclear power shit, it's one of the things that's left over. And there's 2 different. They're like N/1 and N/2. It's like some form of rock, and they're both man-made as far as we know. And he even says this is common knowledge, and it was just left. Like they just said this is what we found, and they never elaborated on it. They never did tests on it. They never asked why they found this on the moon. They just said that, and then they left it. Not only that, is we're looking for 2020. We want to land on we want to land on the moon again. We want to mine the moon. That's what they said. We're doing a mining project on the moon 2020. Why are we mining the fucking moon all of a sudden? We must know there's something up there on the fucking moon. Not only this, the places that they've wanted to go, they're now saying this is where they've located the position they're going to mine on the moon, which is on the south pole of the moon.
Yeah.
We've never been to the south pole of the moon. We've been there. If you look at a map of all the dots of where we've been on the moon, they're dotted around nearer the top quadrant of the moon. We've never been even fucking close to the south. So why we've now pushed this $1 trillion fucking project to land on the south pole of the fucking moon when we've never fucking been there? We've never even tested the ground of the south. Apparently, to what, so if you can, as far as you can search on the internet, we have never tested the south part of the moon. So why the fuck are we landing a fucking $1 trillion project that could go balls up on the south part of the moon? Why the fuck would we do that? That's fucking absolutely crazy. Unless they know something that we don't know,
right?
And they're not telling us. Why the fuck are we mining a part of the moon that we have never tested and don't know what's there? That seems crazy for even someone that, you know, thinks the moon is a fucking huge rock. That's crazy. Not only that, the craters on the moon, which you can observe with a fucking, you know, with a
telescope
right here in your fucking room, for the size that they are in diameter, how deep they are does not make sense mathematically. You can look it up. They can't prove why. They don't know why those craters don't mathematically make sense. For the impact zone that they have, those craters should be miles deep, and they're not. They're shallow craters, which would indicate that things aren't penetrating the moon the way that they should when they're hitting them. Things aren't acting normally. And second, when we did Apollo 13 and we wrapped around the back of the moon, which is a real flight, you can look that up.
Yeah.
They disposed of their gas canister, which is a huge fucking fuel tank, and it hit the moon. And when it hit the moon, it made a sound that rang for 8 hours. Now, the guy even said, the scientist that was working for NASA, that was the sound monitoring guy, his words were, it rang like a bell. For 8 hours, it rang like a bell, which for them, that's nuts, because that sounds like that shit's fucking hollow. Something's going on there. It fucking rang for 8 hours. That wouldn't happen on Earth. So they couldn't figure that out, but they didn't investigate it. These are facts that you can find about the moon and what happened on Apollo 13, but they don't say why.
Right.
And also on Apollo 13, you can get a great audio clip of the inside cabin crew talking about music that they were hearing when they went around the backside of the moon. And when they went around the backside of the moon, there was no transition feed from them to NASA. And the conversation that you get, because there's no connection feed, which means they couldn't have even been picking up our satellites. There's no way they would have heard anything. There's dead feed. And the conversation they have is about the weird music that they're listening to. It's like tones, like woo. Yeah. It's really weird. And they're like, they have a conversation about whether they tell NASA when they come around the other side of the moon because of what it will do to their careers with what they say. And this is a real conversation that you can listen to of when they went around the back of the moon. It was a recording from within the space thing, which is now everyone can go listen to it. And not only this, the people that apparently landed on the moon, whether you believe in that or not, Armstrong, a couple of ones, when they came back from the moon, they were we're talking about guys that were on TV for an event that could have gone we could have watched people die on TV. They landed on the moon. They walked. They were heroes. They came back. They didn't act like heroes. They all became alcoholics. Armstrong went missing for like 50 years. He basically hid from social media. They did no fucking interviews which pissed NASA the fuck off. And these are all real facts about what happened when they got back. They all became drunks. The only thing Armstrong ever says in an interview is there was nothing on the moon. There is nothing on the moon. It's like he's like a fucking robot. It's like the only thing he says. I don't know if even when he's on Jackass, there is absolutely nothing on the moon. That's all he will say. They both went missing for like 50 years. And whether you or not you believe in all the conspiracy theories, you got to tell me that all that science, that is real fact, real science, when you add it all together, does not make fucking sense.
Right. The problem is, and if we jump back before, your long explanation there, is my point being is that you have conflicting things, right? You have an Air Force pilot saying there's 25 million people on the moon.
Inside
and then
the
you
moon.
have people basically saying we landed on the moon, and they're like, no, we never landed on the moon. So if we never landed on the moon and it was filmed on a soundstage, 25 million people just got there.
Yeah, but this is
and that's what I mean.
I laughed at your outlook at it because it's silly. Regardless of whether that moon landing was real, we've been to the moon. Those are facts.
Yeah, but you see a lot of conspiracy theorists with the landing on the moon say we have never been to the moon.
Yeah, but it's like flat earthers. You just get people that branch off and make their own shit up.
But what I'm saying is, and that is the problem, right? Is that there is so much information, and it's not like the internet.
Yeah, but it's not hard. You're acting like it's so hard to decipher between it. It's not. It's like going online and finding flat earthers. It's not hard to be like, hey, you guys are fucking crazy. Move on. You go to those pages where they're like, oh, they didn't land on the moon. It's like, well, it's even not even a talk to me, really. It's like, I don't really care. Like, because You need to take the facts like what I just told you, because those facts are searchable facts that you can find out that are just, it's just science. It's science that the moon's diameter and how far it is away from the Earth is unnormal for normal planets. The way that the moon creates life upon the Earth is almost engineered that way. These are not common traits of moons. As far as we can look into the universe, these are not common traits of moons. The way that craters react on the moon, the stuff that was found on the moon when we have actually been there with either probes or humans, whether you believe in that shit or not, I don't care. We have samples from the moon. You can look them up. You can look up NASA files. They have samples from the moon.
Yeah.
That's a fucking fact. And when you look up what they fucking found, they found titanium and they found these other two products that are man-made products. They're products that we have made on Earth and we have found nowhere on Earth raw. So either we need to find out why they're raw on the moon and how they were made on the moon. Yeah. But did we? No. That's as far as the file goes. And if you look at all the evidence, it's fishy. Yeah. It smells fishy. And when you've got stuff like the weed movement right now, they just released tests. America has finally done their approval on weed. It's harmless. That was their official release. Yeah. Marijuana is harmless. Now, their government has been lying to them for fucking years then, because if you, from the days of reefer madness, they've been telling us that reefer is bad. It'll make you kill yourself. It'll make you want to go through the school with a shotgun. It's going to make you do awful, horrible shit. So the government has been lying to us. Now, the only thing you should take away from that is our government is a lying piece of shit. What the fuck else have they been lying about? Yeah. And something as big as the moon and as big as science and as big as technology and aliens, they are going to lie till they're fucking blue in the face because they lied about a simple drug that you smoke and feel relaxed about. They lied. A massive war on drugs. They had a massive war on drugs. There's people in prison for 25 to life for selling marijuana. And they're still in prison. Yep. And that's a fucking atrocity. So what else are they willing to lie about? If they're willing to throw away people's lives for a drug that they know is fucking harmless, which they did, and now have finally released it, and no one's saying anything about it. Everyone's just happy they can smoke weed. And that's how good the government is. They turn your fucking mind on yourself. They're like, oh, now we can smoke weed. This is amazing. It's like, no, you should be really looking at the fact that why the fuck was I lied to? Why is certain people taken away from their kids because they were smoking marijuana? And now you're releasing that it's harmless. It's more harmless than alcohol. It's amazing. Oh, it's this amazing product and we can do so much with it. What the fuck is wrong with you? We need to look at the fact that these guys lied for years. Yeah,
because people are closed-minded. They don't test things. They don't go. It's like your moon example.
And that's the only proof
your
you
moon
need.
Example, you have these byproducts or you have these elements that are there. They haven't been tested. At some point, I am sure they will get around to it.
But that's where I think we're fooled. I think they did fucking test it. I think they know why it's there. Do they tell us? No, they don't give a fuck if we know. Because the information that they need would blow our fucking minds, in my opinion. The stuff that America knows about space, the stuff that we've done out in space, $6.3 trillion went fucking missing. And I guarantee you it went into space programs. I can almost guarantee it. Because we're not bothered about saving this planet. We're bothered about fucking moving from this planet. We're bothered about finding out what's out on this planet. We spend more money yearly finding out what's out there than we do about fixing what's going on here. Because they're not bothered about what's going on here. We'll burn this place to the fucking ground.
Oh, yeah.
And they would have already found a safe place to fucking live.
Yeah.
$6.3 trillion. That didn't go on fucking M&Ms and Smarties at the White House. That's...
Yeah.
That's a copious amount of money. The only thing I can think that costs that much money is fucking space travel.
Yeah. Or military.
But military, even like, we don't have that good as shit. There's still people dying on the front lines.
Yeah.
There's still people getting blown up. We don't see drones going into fucking Iraq. We just see a bunch of people coming out.
Which is ironic because you can go buy a drone at Best Buy.
Exactly. So why isn't the $6.3 trillion gone into that if it's gone into military? Yeah. You think that our whole army at this point wouldn't have a human in it?
Yeah.
Does it? We still got tons of kids coming back, losing legs, losing arms.
Yeah.
But then look at the space program. I bet they're flourishing.
Yeah.
And I bet there's more than we know. And that's my point. I don't think that we've left this stuff and haven't tested it. I think that they've left the information out and they've tested a shit ton. If that's the information we had since the moon landing, imagine the information we have now.
Yeah.
And that's what we're not being told. And that's my point. That's the only conspiracy theory, is that we are lied to on a daily basis and we don't know what the lie is.
Right.
It could be huge. It could be tiny.
Yeah.
We don't know. It could the moon could be nothing, but they still haven't told us. And the fact that they haven't told us makes me feel like it's not nothing, because it was nothing. It wouldn't be something to keep secret.
Yeah.
So that's what bothers me.
Yeah.
fuck the people that think the Earth is flat and the fucking moon landing never happened. Those people are fucking idiots. They're just trying to find something to make them feel special.
There you go. And that's all we have time for this week.
I'm Lloyd.
I'm JD. Peace. See ya.